Success with muscle growth is about consistency with doing the right things over and over again for a long period of time. We all know this. The problem is we don't know what those right things are. So we click on videos like this to discover what those right things are. One fella gives a message, another fella gives a conflicting message, we get confused, paralysis by analysis, and we make absolutely no results. Let me know if that's been you, because that's been me. That's not the fault of any of those people that you're getting information from. They're telling you what works best for them, and that's the key of today's video. Do what's best for you to the viewer is seen as this nebulous term that is a non-answer, and a lot of times we get angry when we're told to just do what's best for us, do what works for us. Today's video is going to be an important concept because I want to tell you exactly how to do that. It's a 3-step process. It's simple, repeatable. If you're interested in finally putting an end to that confusion, the disappointment, then keep watching. But before we get started, if you're someone that has discovered what that best exercise is for you, I'm curious to see where our common ground is at. Let me know what your favorite exercise is and why, and then we can chat in the comments to see what our favorites are. Let's get started. First and foremost, step 1, you're gonna wanna just do things. This is the easiest part because we spend all day Googling exercises, consuming reels, being exposed to all different kinds of things that we can try. This is the fun part, and it's also where a lot of people stop because we don't make it to step 2. Step 2 is the scary part, right? After you do things, you have to compare them to one another. That takes mindfulness, and that takes, okay, looking at how does this make my muscles feel? How fatiguing is it? How easy is this to perform? A lot of people get hung up on trying to find the best thing when really, when you break it down Barney style into those 3 things, it's very simple to find out what is a good exercise for you. After that, this is where the magic happens. Step 3, you find variations of those exercises you found in step 2, just so that you can make your program robust. You make your program future-proof. You add exercises to add a little spice of life. So you do a variation of, say, for me, I really resonate with pull-ups compared to pull-downs. I get more muscle growth, more strength when I do pull-ups. Pull-downs are good, but I get better results doing pull-ups personally. So I do variations of pull-ups as opposed to doing pull-downs generally. That's what it's gonna look like. So you do it to add either more volume, more frequency, or just something to switch to once, say for example, that pull-up gets stale. You switch to a chin-up or a neutral grip pull-up, or like a semi-supinated pull-up. So there we go, 3 steps, very simple, rinse and repeat. This is super stress-free. It's gonna allow absolutely all of you to put together an all-star team of exercises that work the best for you. Now, just a little, tidbit that I wanna leave y'all with. How do I leave my program open to trying things once I go back to step 1? Well, I really enjoy what I call an 80-20 rule. And it's just the GigaBrain way of saying, I leave like 1 exercise slot on each training day open to just try different things. And that's how you just do it long term. This is super valuable for you fellas. I'm really excited to share this information with you. We're gonna get into our first hot take and then into our Q&A. I already know this hot take is gonna be very contentious, but I'm gonna do something a little different this time. I'm just gonna read it to you, and then I'm gonna ask you what you think about it with none of my input. And then I'll give y'all something to chew on in terms of how to help absolutely any of y'all, regardless of what your opinion is. So, trap bar deadlift is better than conventional and sumo. There's a lot of people that absolutely agree with that, and then there are people that absolutely disagree with it. So let me know in the comments down below. Team trap bar, team conventional or sumo deadlift. Even amongst the conventional and sumo guys, y'all disagree with one another. So this is like a very chaotic hot take. But regardless of what your preferred pull of choice is, absolutely all of y'all need to isolate your hamstrings with some sort of curl. Now, a lot of us also train at home or at gyms with limited equipment. I'm gonna show y'all exactly how to do what I think is the most robust hamstring isolation exercise that you can do. The seated ham curl. I'm gonna show y'all right here with the setup. I'm doing hamstring curls seated at home. Feels tremendous. I get a good stretch, good lengthening effect on the hamstrings. I can pre-stretch by doing like a smooth criminal lean forward. And it just is very easy to set up. It's unilateral, so you can train your legs one at a time. We all have one leg that's a little stronger than the other, so this allows you to correct that weakness. It's just a bang for your buck movement. You need a cable pulley system. I just use the Bells of Steel cable pulley. You can find that in the description of this video. Use my link, it helps out the channel. Now, just a couple tips in mind with the seated hamstring curl, mistakes to avoid, and things you don't want to do when you do this at home. First and foremost, I'm not good at physics, so when I first tried this, I put my bench hot dogs or hamburger style, like wide and not long. Does that make sense? It better make sense. It didn't make sense to me because when I did it, it was hamburger style and the bench tipped forward. You're gonna wanna set the bench long way so that there's enough leverage for the bench not to tip forward when you do this. Another thing is, load this conservatively. Again, you're doing this one leg at a time. For reference, I can play around with over 500 pounds on a conventional deadlift for reps. I put 35 pounds on it. I think the loading pin weighs like 10, 15 pounds. So like between 45 and 50 pounds, I think is what I had on it for like sets of 10, right? So extrapolate that to yourself. Also, you're gonna wanna preload your hamstrings, like I said, by doing a little smooth criminal lean. This fully stretches your hamstrings under load at the top so that your failure point is literally budging that weight from the very top, and that's exactly what you want with this exercise. Also, control your eccentrics. Because it's lengthened biased, meaning it's hardest when your muscle is most lengthened, you're gonna want to milk that eccentric because that's exactly what the eccentric does. That was super cool to share with y'all. I actually discovered this in the midst of trying to figure out how to work face pulls with only one pulley, and my squat stands kept tipping over, and like I said, I'm bad at physics, so I just got mad and stomped my foot through the pulley, and I was like, wait, I can do hamstring curls. So let me know how y'all think about that. We're gonna get right into the Q&A. All right, fellas, we are back inside. Somebody asked to explain the difference between a lengthened biased exercise and a shortened biased exercise, or a stretch versus squeezed, and how we can decide if a motion is, one of the two. Now, it's really simple the way that you want to think about it. I could explain it in terms of load and muscle fiber orientation and 90-degree joint angles. That is word salad, and honestly, it's not what you need to look at if you're just looking to understand what makes a movement lengthened or shortened biased. Here's how you tell. Look at where you fail at in the movement. You don't have to so much think about it so much as you record yourself and you push the set to failure and see where you fail at. If you fail when the muscle is fully stretched, like on a seated ham curl, meaning you can't push your leg down at all, it's a lengthened biased exercise. Now, if you fail to fully squeeze the muscle, like on a lying ham curl, it's a shortened biased exercise. Now, just little tidbits that I want to give y'all, because it's a really simple, that's literally how you need to look at it. But some tidbits for these types of exercises. Because a movement is lengthened biased, you want to make sure that you are elongating that eccentric, doing a controlled eccentric at the very least, because that's where the most of the growth is going to be at. Likewise, with a shortened biased exercise or squeezed biased exercise, you want to make sure that you get that full squeeze. It doesn't mean squeeze for 5 seconds like a Sammy sausage head. It just means make sure that you actually feel the squeeze, because that's where most of the growth is going to come from. Real short and sweet. I'm going to see y'all back outside. Hopefully that makes sense. I think in the comment section I'm going to put some examples of lengthened versus shortened biased exercises. We're going to get to the next hot take, and this one, well, I'll read it to you first, and then you tell me what you think. So, isolations should be done after you get good at compounds. Now, this one is well-intentioned, I believe. Y'all let me know what you think about it, but here's what I think about it. I think that you should absolutely do isolation exercises concurrently, meaning at the same time as your compounds, regardless of what your experience level is, because especially in those developmental stages, you want to become good at these isolation movements, at least proficient in terms of form, and not playing catch up, because the last thing you want to do is just focus on a compound exercise and not develop the muscle groups that you actually want to develop, like your shoulders, your arms, your hamstrings, your calves, so on. Don't really get hit the best, at least holistically, with compound exercises. So you're going to spend all this time doing a compound exercise, and then you just are not developed in the way that you want. This next question is a really good one because it's one that we have all had. It is, what is a good rate of progression and how do I know that I'm getting stronger or progressing? Absolutely every video that I've posted for a long time now, I'll leave a resource to Alexander Bromley's channel wherein he talks about double progression and dynamic double progression. If you don't know what that is, beautiful. After this video, watch that video. I also use examples of double progression and dynamic double progression in absolutely each and every one of my "These are the best exercises" videos, because I believe that for most people, it is the simplest progression scheme that you can use, and it's scalable, meaning no matter how strong you are, how weak you are, new, season, you don't have to change it. It always works. Now, why does it work? You know that you're progressing because you're adding reps, you're adding sets, and you're adding weight, and that's how you know you're getting stronger. I think a lot of times, and this is what the question is really asking, is the progress that I'm making fast enough, or should it be faster? Look at it this way, bro. So let's say it takes you a week to add a rep to a weight that you're doing. You're like, that's nothing, that's unsubstantial. Well, multiply that rep times 10 reps. If you added 10 reps to a weight that you could do now, is that not substantial? What if you added 3 reps to it, 5 reps to it? That's not substantial? You wouldn't be substantially stronger if you did that? Of course you would. So be patient with yourself, and as long as you are making progress, training is a long man's game, right? So we come up with these trendy ways of saying get biggest, the fastest. It can be faster and you can expedite the process of getting jacked and getting stronger, but it is by no means a fast process, guys. You have to train for months and years to get the types of physiques that you'll more than likely want. Now, if you just want to get lean and, you know, look like a swimmer, it doesn't take very long to do that. But that's not why most of us watch YouTube fitness. We want to get exceptional results. We want to get more than just the bare minimum. Not to go off on a tangent, but bro, be patient and be kind with yourself. All right, fellas, last question of the week. You already know BQ gets the last question. Deadlift related again. I'm just joking, that's good. So he wants to know, what are your thoughts on breaking, you know, big plateaus with your deadlift by taking your top set weight, it's heavy at this point, and then just breaking that down into multiple sets with lower reps. So let's just say, for example, he didn't give a weight or rep range, but let's just say heavy for you is like 500 for a set of 8, and that would otherwise be your top set. Would it be better to, instead of doing 8 reps at 500 pounds, do 4 sets of 4, wherein you get twice as many reps? I think 4 times 4, yeah, it's 16. It's twice as much as 8. Yeah, it is. It's better, in my opinion, in terms of accumulating strength, to pace yourself. So that is a good way of auto-regulating your training and doing sub-maximal volume. That's just a lot of gigabrain stuff to say that you get stronger by pacing yourself and not by, you know, going to the bleeding edge of what you possibly can do at any given time, because at that point you're testing your strength. You're not building it. Building strength comes with building your ability to do things in a sub-maximal fashion, which raises your ceiling over time, which then allows you to, at some point, lift more weight than you did 10, 12 weeks ago. That's where strength training and hypertrophy training really differ. Where in hypertrophy training, you don't really need to pace yourself as much, or at least it's not mandatory. And in strength training, again, for most people, it's almost a prerequisite. So excellent question. You can extrapolate that to any lift. Guys, this Q&A was especially fun to make. I do want to remind you, again, that if you have any questions about these questions, please let me know. If you have suggestions or questions for next week, also let me know. Before I let you go, just a reminder, there's the Bells of Steel giveaway. The safety squat bar SS3, my favorite way to squat. I'm giving one of those away. We are giving one of those away. All you have to do to enter, it's free. You just have to comment on this video saying, oh, I entered. Subscribe to this channel, subscribe to Bells of Steel, and then on January 18th, we are going to announce the winner. If you want to win an SS3 safety squat bar, please enter. It's a great bar. Save your shoulders, great on the quads. I'll see y'all later. Have a good day.